Excuse me. Would Mr. Smith be here by any chance? I don't mean to intrude, but this is important and I wanted to speak to him directly.
Yes, that would be me. Frank Smith. Can I help you with something? This seems quite unexpected.
Well, I appreciate you seeing me on such short notice. My son, Josh, has been dating your daughter, Amber, for a few years now, and it sounds like things are getting serious between them. They've mentioned marriage, and both of them seem very fond of each other. At this point, I feel like we, as parents, should be stepping in to give them support and guidance. Marriage is a big step, and they'll need us in their corner. Don't you agree?
I understand what you're saying, but to be honest, I haven't heard anything from Amber about it. Not a word. I've always respected her decisions, but if they're that serious, I'd think she'd have let me know. How can I encourage or discourage something as significant as marriage without even knowing it's on the table? I would feel presumptuous on my part, considering I'm hearing all of this from you, a stranger, instead of my daughter.
I understand that, truly. It's just, as parents, sometimes we have to make these calls even if our kids aren't fully on board. They're obviously very much in love with each other, and I feel it's our job to help them take the next step forward, especially if they're uncertain. If we don't show our support now, they might hesitate. That's the last thing I want, especially knowing how much they mean to each other.
Look, I can tell you care deeply about this, and I'm not dismissing your concerns. I'll talk to Amber about it tonight. But I have to say, showing up unannounced like this, discussing marriage before I even know your son, it's a bit unusual, don't you think? Marriage is a decision for them to make, not something we can just arrange. I don't even know your son yet.
You're absolutely right. I apologize for the abrupt approach. I didn't mean any disrespect. It's just... Well, I'm not in the best of health, and I've only got one son. My one hope is to see him settled and happy, maybe even with a family of his own, before my health gets any worse. I might be overstepping, but my intentions are genuine, I assure you. I hope that once you talk to Amber, you'll consider giving them your blessing. They seem truly happy together.
I'll definitely take it into consideration. Thank you for explaining. I'll be sure to speak with Amber tonight and let her know about your visit. Amber, can I talk to you about something? Are you seeing someone?
Yeah, Dad, I am. It's been about 5 years now. Why? Don't tell me you're asking because I haven't introduced him to you yet. I mean, I know I've been busy, but we've talked about him here and there, right?
Amber, you know, I've thought a lot about your future. All I want is for you to live a happy, fulfilled life, and that's been my wish since the day you were born. But today I had an unexpected visitor. Your boyfriend's father. He came to my office out of nowhere saying he wants us to help the two of you get married soon. I had no idea you were even thinking about marriage, and having him show up like that, it threw me off.
Wait, Dad, are you serious? His dad came to your office without even telling me? This is the first I'm hearing about any of this. I mean, sure, my boyfriend and I have brought up marriage a few times, but we're not rushing into anything. This is honestly as surprising to me as it was to you.
Well, according to him, he's not in the best of health, and he's anxious for his son to be settled sooner rather than later. He seems worried that time isn't on his side. But personally, something didn't feel right about the whole thing. I'm asking you because I want to make sure you're okay. What's your boyfriend like? Are you genuinely happy with him?
Absolutely, Dad. You know, I wouldn't date someone for 5 years if I didn't care about him deeply. He's got a good heart, he's respectful, and he's hardworking. And don't worry, I wouldn't let myself get involved with someone who doesn't align with my values. I think I have a pretty good judge of character, thanks to you.
All right then, I trust your judgment. I'd still like to meet him sometime soon if possible. And Amber, remember, this is your decision, one you should make with a full heart. Don't let anyone else's wishes sway you, not even ours. Marriage is a big step, and you deserve to go into it on your terms, without pressure from anyone else.
Thanks, Dad. That really means a lot. Sometimes I feel like we haven't had enough of these talks lately, and I've missed it. I know you've been through a lot, but sometimes it felt like you were pulling away from me. I even worried that maybe you resented me for what happened to Mom.
Oh, sweetheart, please don't ever think that. Losing your mom was hard, but I'd never, ever blame you. I've just always been a bit reserved, even awkward. I remember when I first met your mom. She looked at me like I was the oddest guy around. As time went on, I figured maybe I should give you some space. Let you figure things out on your own. I had no idea you were feeling like this. I'm sorry. From now on, I'll try to be more open and supportive.
No, Dad, it's okay, really. I'll do better too. And I promise I'll bring him around soon so you can meet him. I think you two would get along. He's thoughtful and has a good head on his shoulders. You'd see right away why I fell for him. Hey, Josh. Did you happen to mention to your dad that we were kind of going back and forth about marriage? You know, just talking about the possibilities without making any solid plans yet?
Yeah, of course. My dad and I, well, we don't keep secrets from each other. We're really close like that. Actually, when we were all together with the family, I let it slip that I was thinking about marriage with you. It just came up naturally in conversation. I figured it was okay to share it. But why are you asking now? Did something happen?
Well, it turns out your dad decided to take it a step further. He went to my dad's office, of all places, and talked to him about us getting married soon. That's kind of a big move to make, don't you think? I mean, it's not like our families have formally met. And yet your dad took it upon himself to push the idea of us getting married. That's a little much, don't you think? Plus, how did he even know where my dad's office is?
Oh, that part. He asked me for the address a while back, and I gave it to him. I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured he was just curious or maybe wanted to be polite if he ever needed to stop by. But wow, I didn't think he'd actually go and make an official visit to your dad, especially to talk about something as big as marriage. I get it, my dad can be a bit impulsive. Honestly, it drives me crazy sometimes. I'm really sorry, Amber. I had no idea he'd actually take it that far. He can get ahead of himself, but I know he didn't mean any harm. He means well, you know? Could you maybe cut him some slack? And, well, it's not like we haven't thought about marriage, right? I mean, we're probably at least 90% of the way there.
Yeah, that's true. It's just, I want us to be the ones to make those decisions. I want it to be our call and to go at our pace. I wasn't planning for my dad to find out like this or for your dad to drop by unannounced. Just imagine if my dad had been in the middle of an important client meeting. Your dad overstepped this time, Josh. I understand he's got health issues, and maybe he's feeling like he's running out of time to see you settled. But I don't want that to be why I feel pushed into marriage. I need to know that we're both on the same page about this. If this situation makes you feel uncomfortable or hesitant, let's be honest about it now.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry for all of this, Amber. I'll sit down with my dad and talk to him about boundaries. He needs to understand that while I appreciate his support, this is a decision that we have to make together. I promise I'll clear things up. And would you mind not staying mad at me over this? I'm just as surprised as you are, and I want us to move past this. Can we?
Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'll let it go. It's not your fault, and I appreciate that you're willing to talk to him. By the way, my dad said he'd like to meet you sometime soon. How does that sound? I figured the weekend might be easiest since we were both tied up with work during the week.
That sounds great. I was hoping he'd want to meet me eventually. And yeah, I'd say the weekend or an evening would work best. So, are we heading over to your dad's place for dinner or something?
I'll have to check in with him about it. I'd love to cook something special for both of you, but I'm just not sure if I'll have the energy. You know how packed my schedule's been lately.
That's totally fine. Whatever you and your dad are comfortable with, I'm on board. Just let me know, and I'll be there. Amber, good to see you, sweetheart. Oh, and you must be the young man I've heard about. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm Josh. It's an honor, really. Amber's told me so much about you.
Dad, you're making him even more nervous than he already is. Josh, don't worry. You're in good company here. Just relax. And wow, what's that amazing smell in here, Dad? Did you make something special for us?
Well, I figured since I'd be meeting your boyfriend for the first time, I should pull out all the stops. So yes, I whipped up some of your favorite dishes. This way, I get to see if you've got a good appetite.
Oh, Dad, thank you so much. I haven't had a meal like this in ages, and I can't wait to dig in. Josh, come on over and have a seat. You're in for a treat. My dad's cooking is legendary around here. You're going to love it.
Thank you, sir. Really, this is incredibly kind of you. This is delicious. Thank you so much for going through all of this effort for us.
Right? Dad, this is amazing. You're still the best cook in town. No question about it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. If the food's to your taste, that gives me some peace of mind. I want you both to feel comfortable here. That said, I do need to address something. As you know, Amber's my only child. I've raised her with all the love and care I could give, hoping that she'd have a happy and fulfilling future.
Sir, I completely understand, and I apologize on my father's behalf. This whole thing has been a huge misunderstanding. I had no idea that he would take my words as seriously as he did. When I talked to him about my hopes for Amber and me, I never intended for him to push so hard. I'm deeply sorry if he overstepped his boundaries. It wasn't my intention.
Thank you for acknowledging it, Josh. I know you didn't mean for any of this to happen, and I understand how parents can be. I have only one daughter, so I can appreciate your father's desire to see his son settled. That said, I'd ask that we tread a little more carefully going forward. This is a big step for both of you, and I think you both deserve the space to make this decision for yourselves.
Dad, maybe we should finish eating before diving too deep into this conversation. I don't want anyone to get too worked up over it, especially while we're all here to enjoy a nice meal. Why don't we save the rest of this talk for dessert?
You're right, Amber. I'll back off, at least for now. Let's enjoy this meal together, shall we? So, Josh, what do you do for work right now?
I'm working at a tax agency as an accountant. I've been there for 3 years now, and it's pretty stable work.
That's good to hear. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not asking because I think one job is better than another. It's more that, as a parent, I want to be sure Amber won't face any financial stress down the road. It's never easy starting out, but a steady income goes a long way. Amber, you're still working at the hospital, right?
Yeah, Dad, I am. Between my income and Josh's, we should be in a pretty decent spot financially. At least we'll be able to get by without too much strain.
That's good. You two can work out the details together. And look, I want to help you get a good start, so I'll provide you both with a place to live. If you're careful with your money, that should make things a lot easier. Speaking of which, Josh, are your parents set up for retirement? As for me, I'm still working.
My dad's been in and out of the hospital, so they're not in a position to provide us much financially, though they've tried to stay as independent as possible. They don't expect anything from us, and I'd never want Amber to feel pressured by any family obligations. I'll make sure that she's not put in any uncomfortable position, like taking care of my family's finances. That's the last thing I'd want.
Good to hear, Josh. That's exactly the mindset you should have. We all want what's best for our families, but it's also important to set healthy boundaries. Now, one last question. What is it about Amber that made you decide she's the one you want to marry?
Dad, you can't just ask him that. I haven't even asked him something like that myself.
Well, sir, where do I begin? Amber is one of the most genuine, kind-hearted people I've ever met. She's been by my side through some really difficult times, cheering me on quietly but steadily. Whenever I had problems, she was there to listen without judgment, offering me solutions or just understanding my frustrations. She's wise beyond her years. Over the last few years, I've realized that if there's anyone I want to spend my life with, it's her. I just can't imagine anyone else I'd want by my side, through thick and thin. Well, I have to say, that's the kind of love that's worth building a life around. Josh, I hope those feelings don't change with time. Amber, it seems like he truly cares for you, and I don't have any reason to oppose this relationship. Go ahead and start planning. After all, this is a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. You should take your time to make it right.
Thanks, Dad. I'm so grateful for your support. I'll do everything I can to make sure we have a happy life together.
Thank you, sir. I promise I'll work hard to make sure we build a good life. I won't take this opportunity for granted.
So, how did it go? Was her dad upset with you? Or did he say anything that might have made you uncomfortable?
I don't know. Maybe I was too forward. But honestly, we're in a bit of a time crunch here, aren't we? It's not like we can just sit back and wait.
That's the problem, Walter. You couldn't just wait and let things happen naturally. Why do you always have to charge in head first? If her dad was any less understanding, he might have called off the wedding plans altogether after that stunt.
You're right. I had to make up an excuse on the spot, telling Amber that you were just anxious about the timeline. It's almost funny how quickly they bought it. Like they're just waiting for a reason to believe us.
But we're sure about their financial situation, right? There's real money there this time. I can't go through another disappointment like last time. We've got people breathing down our necks to pay back debts. I'm beyond tired of this.
Relax, Dad. You saw it with your own eyes, didn't you? Even if it's a small business, her father is running a legitimate company. Sure, it's not a flashy, popular business, but he's able to pay his employees and keep things running smoothly. And get this, he even offered us a house once we're married. We just need to make sure it's in both of our names, so I can use it to leverage a loan from a third-party lender.
That's perfect! Just don't forget, though, the loan and any paperwork should all be in Amber's name. You don't want anything tied to you, especially in case things go south. We can't afford any surprises here.
Mom, I know. Don't worry. I'll handle everything. But won't you and Dad need to meet Amber soon? Maybe we should consider using a stand-in for you both again, like last time.
I wish we could, but it's too late for that now. Your dad's already made an appearance, so it would be too obvious. If they're serious about this relationship, they're going to want to meet both of us in person. So, Walter, from now on, try to think things through before you jump in. We don't need any more impulsive decisions. This is getting out of hand.
All right. I get it. No need to keep harping on about it. Next time I'll be more careful. You have my word.
So, should I suggest meeting next week? If we're going through with this, we might as well plan to meet them in a casual setting like a restaurant. Or maybe... should we try renting an Airbnb? I'd hate for them to see our basement apartment and think twice about the wedding. I want everything to look just right.
Good idea. At least with an Airbnb, we don't have to worry about cleaning or trying to make our place look like something it's not. This way, everything can be just as we need it.
Hey, babe. So my parents mentioned they'd really love to meet you sometime soon. How do you feel about getting together at the end of this month? Would you have some time then?
Really? I'd love that. I've been looking forward to meeting your mom and dad, and it feels like perfect timing. Do they have any favorite foods or anything they really enjoy? I'd love to bring something special for them.
Well, if I had to pick one thing, they're both pretty big fans of oysters. Since neither of them grew up near the coast, they kind of developed this taste for it as a delicacy. They've both always liked it.
Oysters, huh? I know just the place. I'll swing by and pick up a nice variety to bring along. I love oysters too, so I'm happy our tastes align like this.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about us. We both enjoy the same foods. It feels like fate, doesn't it? Makes me feel like we're a perfect match in every way.
Right? I'm actually excited to meet them. They must be really wonderful if they raised you to be so thoughtful and dependable. I can't wait to get to know them. Although, do you think they'll like me? I mean, I hope I make a good impression.
Oh, come on. You don't need to worry about that. You're kind, sweet, and absolutely charming. Who wouldn't like you? My parents will be thrilled to meet you. I promise. So don't worry, all right? Just be yourself.
Okay. Thanks for the reassurance. I appreciate it. And thank you for coming over to meet my dad today. I know it took some effort on your part, so make sure to get a good rest.
Hey, Amber, look. I know this might sound strange, and I don't want to worry you unnecessarily, but is there any chance you consider putting off the wedding? Or even reconsidering it altogether?
Wait, what? Where's this coming from, Dad? You said you liked him. You even thought he was a good guy. Is there something that's changed, or something about him that's bothering you?
It's not exactly something he did. It's more that I had this strange dream the other night. You know how my dreams sometimes seem to come true, right? Well, I dreamed that the business was robbed, and everything went downhill fast. And with him having been here recently, something about it just doesn't sit right with me.
Come on, Dad. It's probably just a silly dream, right? I mean, you and I both know we have all kinds of dreams that mean absolutely nothing. Maybe it's just because you've been so stressed with work lately.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. I've definitely had a lot on my plate lately. But no matter how much I try to shake it off, I can't help feeling uneasy about it. Still, I know it's not my place to stop your wedding over a strange feeling or a bad dream.
Exactly. And besides, we're not even locked into a wedding date yet. Just because we're talking about marriage doesn't mean it's a done deal. Josh is a wonderful guy. But if I meet his family and feel like there's something off, or if our lives don't really align, there's still the possibility of calling things off. So please, don't feel like you have to worry. I'll be meeting his parents the day after tomorrow and can fill you in afterward.
All right, that sounds fair. They live in Washington, don't they? So you'll be heading over there tomorrow, right?
Yes. I haven't been up that way in ages. It'll be a bit nostalgic. I used to live there with Mom, you know, so I've sort of avoided it. But it feels right to go now. And speaking of which, didn't you say you had someone renting the place for a while? I'll take the opportunity to check on the house while I'm there and make sure everything's in good shape.
Good idea. But Amber, remember one thing. Don't mention anything to Josh or his family about your Airbnb business. Some things are better kept private, and you never know when you'll need to play your cards close to your chest.
Don't worry, Dad. You know I can keep a secret. I'll just say I'm meeting up with an old friend and then quietly slip away to check on the house. You have nothing to worry about. It's been ages since I last visited Washington. Everything feels so familiar and different at the same time.
Really? Did you come here often before? I know it's not exactly close. I mean, the 3 hours drive is a bit of a haul. But you used to come here a lot?
Yeah, actually. My mom and I used to live here before she passed away. It was rough on my dad being around all those memories, so he ended up moving closer to work to make things easier for both of us.
I had no idea. That must have been a tough time for you both. My parents haven't been in Washington that long. Probably just about 2 years. They originally planned to retire somewhere quieter, but my dad's health issues made it too difficult to stay far from medical care. So, here we are.
I totally get that. When you're in a remote area, even the simplest checkup becomes a huge ordeal. Living near hospitals and doctors just makes sense sometimes.
We're almost there. Just a few more minutes. So, did your dad have much to say about me? I got the feeling he wasn't thrilled about sending his one and only daughter off with someone he barely knows.
He's just a little overprotective. Anyone watching him would think I was about to run off and never come back.
Hey, that's how parents are. Look at mine. They're practically jumping at the idea of meeting you. No matter how old we get, we're always going to be kids in their eyes. And like I said, we're almost there. Just 15 more minutes and we'll be pulling up. Hang in there.
I didn't think I'd feel this tired. I guess work really wore me out. I'll probably just crash as soon as we get to the Airbnb. Tomorrow I'll be heading out to meet my friend first thing, so feel free to go over to your parents' place without me in the morning. Sound good?
Friend? Can I come along and meet her too? You know, you never really introduced me to your friends. I feel like I'm missing out.
Oh, I'd love to, but she's super shy. She's the type to get really anxious around new people, so I think it's best I meet her on my own. Sorry about that.
Fair enough. I'll survive. Besides, we'll be spending plenty of time with each other's friends and family once we're married, right? I'll wait patiently until then.
Oh my! You must be Amber! You must be tired from the long trip. Josh, I hope you took some breaks on the way to make it a bit easier for her.
Of course, Mom. We actually got here yesterday evening so we could rest up, and that way we'd be fresh for today. Amber, this is my mom, Virginia.
It's so nice to finally meet you. Your home is lovely. So warm and welcoming. Did you decorate it yourself? Why, thank you, dear. Yes, I'm a bit of an interior design enthusiast, though this place is starting to show its age. This house is over 30 years old now, so we're starting to think it might be time to move on soon. Oh, it doesn't look old at all. It's beautiful. And honestly, I love how homey it feels. By the way, where's your husband? Oh, Walter's just out on the porch taking a smoke break. My goodness, you didn't have to go to all this trouble. How did you know we were such big oyster fans? You brought so much.
Well, believe it or not, Amber happens to love oysters just as much as you two. She thought it'd be the perfect thing to bring as a gift. Thoughtful, right?
I'm just glad I could bring something you like. By the way, I noticed you don't have any family photos up in here. Would you mind showing me some? I love looking at family pictures. They just tell so much about a person's life and the people they cherish. Oh, you're so sweet. Actually, we have a lot of stuff in storage right now, so most of our photo albums are packed away. I'll have to dig them out and bring them over next time. Would that be all right? Of course. I didn't mean to be nosy. I just grew up with tons of family photos around, so I guess I got used to it. No pressure at all. Really.
Well, what do we have here? Are the kids here already?
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Amber.
Oh, so this is my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. Virginia, you should have put out a bigger spread. We have a special guest after all.
Oh, you think I wouldn't if I could? We have to work with what we've got, Walter. Besides, the oysters are the main dish, and it deserves to be the star of the show.
Well, this is fantastic. Oysters are our favorite, and it's so thoughtful of you to bring it, Amber. Can't wait to dig in. So, Amber, I guess I should tell you. I was the one who rushed over to meet your dad the other day. I probably came on a little strong, but I have to say, he's a really respectable man. I mean, he listens to what you have to say and actually considers it. That's a rare quality. Meanwhile, here I am, always insisting on my way or no way. I can't tell you how relieved I am that our son found someone like you. And a family like yours, really.
Thank you. I'm sure my dad would appreciate hearing that. He's always been a big believer in people learning to stand on their own 2 feet. He raised me to take full responsibility for my choices, for better or worse. And honestly, I want to do the same for my own kids one day. Now that's exactly what I mean. A real headstrong young lady. You sound like the kind of person who knows what she wants and stands by it. Isn't that right, Walter? I think Josh found his match here, don't you? Well, that's something Josh and I are definitely going to talk through. Communication is key, right?
But, if I'm honest, there's something more. It's just that, well, I feel like I may not have a whole lot of time left. I know I look fine on the outside, but I'm dealing with some pretty serious health issues. I have liver disease, and on top of that, diabetes and high blood pressure. Things that don't exactly get better with time. So as much as I want to respect your timing, I'd love to see you two married sooner rather than later. Do you think that could be possible?
I understand. And I'm really sorry you're going through all of that. I'll make sure Josh and I sit down and go over the timing to see if we can make it work. But with both of us having full-time jobs, it's probably going to take a bit of scheduling to make sure it works for everyone involved.
That's all I can ask. You two do what feels right for you. Just if you can, try to get things in motion this year. I'd be over the moon if I could see my son settled and happy while I'm still in good enough health to enjoy it.
I completely understand. And I promise we'll do our best to coordinate everything so we can make that happen.
Amber, you're back. Is everything okay? You look like something's bothering you.
Dad, I just got back from Washington, where I met Josh's parents like we planned. But I have a weird question. Are we leasing out the house we manage there?
No, of course not. That's the Airbnb property you're in charge of maintaining. We don't have any long-term tenants there. Why? What's going on?
Well, that's the thing. When I went to meet Josh's parents, it turns out that they're staying in that house. I'm not sure if they're aware it's an Airbnb, but it threw me off. I mean, they're showing it off as their own home, and it felt strange. Do you think it'd be okay if I went inside and took a closer look around?
Wait, you're telling me they're actually living there? That doesn't make any sense. Did they mention it was our property, or did you get the impression they're trying to claim it as theirs?
No, I didn't mention it was ours. Honestly, I was so surprised that I didn't know how to bring it up. And with Josh's dad chatting my ear off the whole time, I didn't get a chance to ask any questions. But yeah, it just doesn't sit right with me. I didn't think something like this would ever happen.
This really doesn't sound right at all. Amber, I have an idea, but hear me out. What if you tell them, after some time, that our business isn't doing well? Specifically, could you mention that my company's had a rough time lately and that it might make the marriage plans difficult? Not right away, though. Wait a couple of weeks and bring it up then. If you tell them now, they might see it as just an excuse to stall, but a little delay could make it sound more genuine.
Do we really need to go that far? What if they get angry and think we're lying? I don't want this to create even more tension, especially since things were already awkward.
Amber, you know I don't suggest things lightly. There's something about this whole situation that just doesn't feel right. If there's no issue, then we can proceed without any worries. But if there's more to it, this could help us find out. Just give it one try. If nothing seems off, then we'll go ahead with the wedding, and you'll know everything is in the clear.
All right, I'll do it. But please, Dad, don't ask me to do this again. I'm already feeling a little uneasy about it.
I understand. I won't put you in this position again. Just this once, Amber.
So, babe, I was thinking, when do you think would be a good time to set up the official family meeting? It'd be great to get both our families together to start planning things, don't you think? Josh, I need to talk to you about something important. I'm really sorry, but do you think we could postpone the wedding plans? Something's come up at home, and I'm not sure I can focus on anything else right now.
Wait, what? What's going on? What could be serious enough to put our plans on hold?
Well, the truth is, my dad's company went under. It all happened so fast. He's always treated his employees so well, but a few of them didn't like his decisions and they filed complaints, twisting things to ruin his reputation. The backlash completely destroyed his business. Now it looks like he won't be able to give us that house he promised, and I just don't know how to handle this.
Are you serious? And you're only telling me this now? Don't you think it's the kind of thing I should have known sooner?
I didn't mean to keep it from you. We both thought things might turn around, and it was only this morning that he got the official bankruptcy notice. I just didn't expect this to happen. Do you think your parents are going to look down on me now? I mean, everything about my situation has changed practically overnight.
Look, I need some time to process this. I wasn't expecting any of this. Can I have a little space to think things through?
Wait, what? Josh! Josh!
Great, just great. This is like stepping in a pile of trash.
What's going on? Was that Amber on the phone? What do you mean by stepping in trash? Did something happen?
I was getting ready to push for the wedding, and then she drops this bomb on me about her dad's company going bankrupt. What's next? Asking us for a loan to bail them out? I'm not going to let them drag us into their mess.
What? The company went under? Well, if that's the case, there's no point in pursuing this anymore. We were hoping to hit the jackpot with this marriage, and now it's all fallen apart. What are you planning to do? You're going to break it off, right?
Of course. What do you think? I was only considering marriage because of the money. Let's be real. This is a total waste of my time now. Mom, isn't there anyone decent in your circle? You know, someone you could introduce me to who's actually worth something?
Actually, now that you mention it, I did hear about a nice young woman recently who might be a good match for you. She comes from a stable family, and I think she's single. But first things first, end things with Amber quickly. You don't want her clinging on or making a scene that might affect your reputation. I'll talk to your father, and we'll set things up. Honestly, it's like the universe is looking out for us. Just imagine if you'd gone through with the wedding and then this bankruptcy happened. You'd be stuck supporting her father, too. Can you think of anything more suffocating?
You're right. I didn't even think of that. This is actually a blessing in disguise. I guess I'm lucky things turned out this way. I'll give Amber the news and call it off. Amber, I've been thinking things over, and I don't think marriage is in the cards for us anymore. In fact, I think it's best we end things altogether. I've gone over it from every angle, and it just doesn't make sense.
What are you talking about? You were the one pushing for us to get married. Now you're telling me it's over? Are you seriously doing this because my dad's business went bankrupt?
Look, I'm just being honest. Marriage isn't just about two people. It's a union between families. And let's face it, you're not exactly bringing anything stable to the table anymore. You might be great, Amber, but without a strong family backing, life is going to be a struggle.
Are you actually saying this to me? So that was your plan all along? You were only with me because you thought I came from money?
Well, what else do you think you had to offer? It's not like you're particularly attractive or that you've got an incredible figure or anything.
You're disgusting. Honestly, this is the best thing that could have happened. I'd rather be single for the rest of my life than to be tied to someone as shallow as you.
Fine by me. Just don't go calling or messaging me after this. We're done here.
Dad! I can't believe what a scumbag he turned out to be!
Amber, you're crying. Tell me, was it that jerk Josh? Did he really hurt you like this?
Yes, Dad. He did. He had the nerve to say the only reason he wanted to marry me was because he thought we had money. He told me to my face that he couldn't see anything else about me worth marrying. Nothing about me. Not my personality, not who I am. Nothing was enough for him. He was only interested in the idea that I came from money. I can't believe how stupid I was to fall for him. I thought I was in love, but all he saw were dollar signs. It feels like my heart's been ripped out.
Amber, I hate to say it, but I had a feeling about him. But listen to me. As painful as this is right now, this is a blessing in disguise. Imagine if you'd gone through with the marriage, only to find this out later. You would have been miserable, dealing with constant stress about money, caught in the middle of your family and his. Honestly, I'm relieved this came out now. You dodged a huge bullet, Amber. Let's think of this as fate saving you from a lot of heartache down the line.
You're right. I'm going to believe that Mom was looking out for me from above. I can almost hear her telling me to walk away. I'd rather be on my own forever than spend my life with someone as shallow as Josh. But still, it feels so unfair that he gets to just walk away after everything he's put me through. I can't believe he gets to go on with his life like nothing happened while I'm left here feeling used and hurt.
I get it, Amber. That's a natural way to feel. But remember, trying to get revenge or fixating on him isn't going to help you heal. People like him usually end up reaping what they sow without any help. Think of him as a rabid dog that bit you. You got hurt, but you're better off now. And don't forget, you're a smart, resilient person who has so much more ahead of her. I promise you'll find someone who genuinely appreciates you for who you are. Someone who would never take you for granted.
Thank you, Dad. I know you're right. It's just going to take some time. But I'm determined to become someone he'll regret losing. I'll make sure to build the kind of life that shows him what he missed out on. That's the best way to move on, right? Living well is the best revenge, isn't it?
Now that's the spirit I'm talking about. You're stronger than you realize, Amber, and I'll support you every step of the way. You've got a bright future ahead, and you don't need someone like him to hold you back. Let's put this behind us and focus on what comes next. So, Amber, are you wrapping up at the shop? It looks like you've had a good day. All those shelves are empty already. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, we sold out again today. The customers have been so great and supportive, and it feels amazing to see everything going so well. I never thought it would grow like this.
I'm not surprised. You've got a unique style, something fresh that people really seem to appreciate. You're giving them something they can't find anywhere else in the area. I have to say, I never expected the business to take off so quickly. How did sales end up today?
Honestly, it's more than I could have hoped for. I set a monthly goal, and as long as I hit that, I'm happy. I don't need to get greedy. Sure, it stings a little to turn customers away when we're sold out, but I'm making enough to stay comfortable, and I have time left for myself. That's important too. After all, life is about more than just work, right?
That's exactly right, Amber. And as much as I appreciate your time, I have a feeling you should be spending it with Derek, don't you think? He calls me almost every day just to check in. He's truly a caring man, and it's been a relief knowing you're with someone like him.
And I have you to thank for that. You encouraged me to get to know him, and I'm so grateful you did. I've learned that money isn't everything. Derek and I make enough to live comfortably, and that's more than enough for me. What's even better is that we have so much in common. Same hobbies, same interests. It makes everything feel effortless. Actually, we're planning a little weekend getaway soon, just to spend some time together away from everything.
Oh, really? Where are you two planning to go? Or am I not allowed to know?
Well, it's not exactly a big secret. Just 4 months left until the wedding, right? So I thought it'd be nice to go back to the house where you and I used to live with Mom. You left it unbooked, right? I didn't officially mark it as unavailable, but it should be fine, don't you think?
That sounds wonderful. The area's been quiet lately, so you two should have the place to yourselves. Enjoy it. I'll be here, maybe pouring myself a nice drink and relaxing for a change.
Why don't you come with us, Dad? I'm sure Derek would love it. Let me ask him. I'm sure he'll be on board with the idea.
No, you two go and enjoy your time together. I'll just be a third wheel. But you have a great time, and if you need anything, I'm just a phone call away.
All right. But don't hesitate to call if you get lonely, okay?
Do you really find teasing me that much fun?
Well, here we are. This is the house where I grew up, where my mom and dad and I spent so many years together.
Wow, it's beautiful, Amber. There's something so warm and inviting about this place. It feels like the kind of home where you'd always feel welcome. But why is it empty?
After Mom passed, it was just too hard for Dad and me to stay here. There were too many memories, so we eventually moved. But I didn't want it to sit empty and unused, so I turned it into an Airbnb. Now other people can enjoy it, and it still feels like it has life.
That's amazing. You kept it in the family, and it's still being appreciated. So, we're staying here tonight, right? This place has such a warm, comfortable vibe. I think I'm really going to enjoy this.
Yep, we have the whole place to ourselves. There are 3 bedrooms, so feel free to choose whichever you like. And being back here, I suddenly remembered this great steak place nearby. It was my favorite spot back when we lived here. Want to check it out? I don't know why, but now that we're here, I can't stop thinking about it.
That sounds perfect. I'll go pick it up for us. Just text me the name of the place and I'll get everything. I'll make sure to get your favorite combo. The same one you always used to order.
You always know exactly what I like. Thanks so much. You're the best. Derek, you're already here. Wait, what? Josh? What on earth are you doing here?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. What are you doing here, barging into someone else's place like you own it?
Excuse me, ma'am, but are you even aware that this counts as trespassing? You can't just show up uninvited to a place that's not yours.
Trespassing? If anyone's trespassing, it's you two. Let me get this straight. What on earth are you doing here in my house? Josh, you've got some nerve calling this place yours. This is my property. Ever since I first saw you and your parents staying here, pretending like it was your home, I have my suspicions. This is a rental property, meant for short-term stays. My father and I set it up for that purpose alone. And you freeloading in here like you own it. Care to explain?
What? Josh, is that true? This is a rental property? You told me you own this place outright.
Owned, huh? Yeah, sure. Look, from what I'm seeing, you two seem to be married, so I'll give you some advice. You're better off without this guy. He's a liar and a fraud. Don't listen to her, honey. She's just some obsessed ex who can't let it go. We dated briefly ages ago, but she couldn't handle it when I ended things. She's been following me around ever since. Just look at her. She's so fixated that she tracked me down all the way here. That should tell you how unhinged she is.
Josh, hold on a second. Excuse me, is what you're saying actually true?
Why would I bother lying about this? Go on, Josh. Tell her the truth. You don't have to keep up the act any longer. No, babe, listen to me. I'm your husband. Are you seriously going to take her word over mine? You know how much I care about you.
But I've been here multiple times, Josh. Are you saying that every time I've come over, it's been a rented place? You were just pretending?
Multiple times, huh? Josh, how far are you willing to go with this? Were you seriously squatting here to save a few bucks? I guess that explains a lot. Pathetic doesn't even begin to cover it. Amber, why don't you just shut your mouth? You're walking on thin ice here. Or what, Josh? Are you going to hit me? Go ahead and try. I'd love to see you explain that to the cops. I have full surveillance footage from the security cameras in the entryway. That should make things easy for them.
I didn't know. I really didn't. Please just... Can you let me go? I had no idea.
I don't have anything against you. The only one I'm dealing with here is this lying snake. Oh, sure, Miss Successful. How'd you even afford this place, huh? Wasn't your dad's business supposed to have gone under? I bet you're lying about this too, pretending like you own something you don't. Oh, that whole bankruptcy thing. It was a lie. My dad's business is doing better than ever, and our monthly income is more than comfortable. You still don't get why I lied? I knew you were only interested in us for our money, so I wanted to see your true colors. I figured that if I told you we'd lost everything, you'd show your real motives. And you did. You practically ran for the hills. You even told me that without money, I didn't have a single thing to offer you. Remember that?
Josh, you're unbelievable! No wonder you kept asking me about money, pushing me into these conversations about finances. Were you with me for my money too?
No, it's not like that at all. Don't listen to her. She's lying, trying to turn you against me. You know I'd never do that to you.
I'm done. I'm leaving. Don't follow me, Josh. I don't even want to look at you right now. You're disgusting.
Oh, wow. Dumped on the spot, huh?
Maybe if you'd been honest, you wouldn't be in this mess.
That's it, Amber. I've had it with you. I'm done putting up with your attitude. No one's here to save you now, so let's see how tough you really are.
Get off of me! Josh, let go of me! Help! Josh, are you out of your mind? How could you hit her like that?
Back off. You're just like her, thinking you can talk down to me. So what if she's got money? Does that make her better than me? So let me get this straight. You're saying he attacked you unprovoked. She's my stalker, officer. This woman has been following me around for ages. I was here on a trip with my wife, and we found her already inside. She's the one causing all the trouble, not me.
Look, stop twisting things around. This place is my house. You've been sneaking in here, using it like it's yours without permission. I double-checked the records, and guess what? Not a single legitimate booking has been made since you started squatting here. And yet you went around telling people it was your house, pretending you bought it? Unbelievable.
Okay, let's all just take a step back. Can we reach a mutual agreement here? This whole trespassing and assault thing is just going to drag on in court without much of a different outcome. Why don't we just end it here?
I don't think so. Officer, can I file a complaint right here? I have every intention of pressing charges. This man needs to face consequences, especially after assaulting me and his own wife just because his lies were uncovered. This seems like a pattern of behavior to me.
A pattern? Let's not blow this out of proportion. Look, if you and him could just work this out privately, there's no need to involve the courts. You're both adults. Why escalate things to such an extent? Just take the money and leave. Honestly, the thought of giving you anything makes me sick, but I'd rather pay you off and be done with this than let it drag on.
Don't flatter yourself. I wouldn't accept a cent from you. Officer, this whole situation is ridiculous. Isn't your job to make sure justice is served? Telling the victim to settle quietly. What message does that send? It's as if you're saying the victim should just put up with the pain and let things slide. Who really suffers here?
And what are you going to do about it, Amber? What could you possibly accomplish on your own? Just take the money and leave quietly before you make this worse for yourself. Or if you prefer, I can increase the offer. How does double sound?
You're delusional if you think I'd ever accept that. The best thing to do with people like you is to make sure the truth comes out and let everyone see who you really are. What? Why are you calling me? You blocked me and now you only unblock me when it's convenient for you?
Amber, I'm sorry. People around me keep calling, hounding me about everything. It's like the whole world is against me now. I can't escape the backlash. Not in the news, not online. Lily wants a divorce. Her family's calling me every name under the sun, treating me like a criminal.
And that's supposed to be my problem how, exactly? Are you hoping I'll magically call off the charges? Look, I already told you. I have no intention of settling. You're on your own.
Did I ever know you were this influential? And that whole thing about your dad's business? That was a complete lie, wasn't it? You deceived me just as much as you're accusing me of deceiving you. You're not exactly innocent here.
Spare me the drama. Yes, I told you the business was in trouble. But have you ever wondered why I felt the need to lie? It's because of the way you acted. Always focused on money. Always expecting something in return. What was I supposed to think?
So you're telling me that because you found me suspicious, it justified setting up some test for me? That's twisted, Amber. You're seriously messed up. There's supposed to be a basic level of respect between people. Do you even know how to treat others decently?
Oh, and you treated me with such respect? You're the one who trashed every principle of decency first. Who are you to talk about respect? You were only ever around for what you thought you could gain from me. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
Look, I'm sorry, all right? Just please, Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? I'm this close to losing my job, Amber. You know how much my career means to me, especially in a field where reputation is everything.
And that's your problem, isn't it? Can you imagine what your clients would think if they caught wind of all this? I don't know about you, but if I found out my accountant was sneaking around with lies and schemes, I'd feel pretty uneasy about their judgment. Maybe people are right to call you out.
Please don't do this. Just give me one more chance. Look, I'll divorce Lily if that's what it takes. We can be together again, just like before. Honestly, I've been thinking about leaving her anyway. Her personality is insufferable, and I was already on the fence. Let's just give it another shot. You know you loved me, Amber. Real love doesn't just disappear overnight. I know you still care about me, and we were great together. I mean, that guy you're with now, he might be tough, but no one could care for you like I did. I'll treat you right this time.
Listen, just because you have a mouth doesn't mean you should talk like that. Who do you think you are, disrespecting my fiancé? Do you even hear yourself? Unlike you, he's a decent man. Loyal, kind, and committed. He knows what respect means. Something you never learned. And by the way, we're already planning our wedding, so this conversation is over. I thought maybe seeing you begging court would give me some satisfaction. But after hearing this, I'm sure of it. I'll see you there. No more chances.
Amber, please. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm just losing my mind here. Do you have any idea how hard this has been on me? I'm barely holding it together. Look, I know I messed up. I'm sorry, truly. Just one more chance. That's all I'm asking.
Not a chance. You've exhausted any shred of sympathy I might have had. And by the way, I'll be forwarding this entire conversation to your wife. Good luck with that divorce. I hear you've been borrowing money left and right from her family. What kind of lifestyle are you living to be so deep in debt? You're getting exactly what you deserve for treating people like this. Maybe next time you'll think twice before using someone.
Are you insane? Why would you send this to her? What, are you trying to ruin my life completely?
I wasn't planning to go that far. But after everything you've done, treating my family's property like your own, lying to everyone and assaulting me, you've more than earned it. And my father? He's furious. The idea that his daughter came back from a trip with serious injuries because of you. He's determined to see you face justice for what you did. I think court will be the perfect place to settle this once and for all. Don't you?
Amber, don't do this. Amber!
Amber, it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm sure you remember me. Unfortunately, I do. Though I'm not sure why you're calling. I'm guessing it's to beg for leniency for your son. Well, let me save you the trouble. I have zero intention of going easy on him. You're really going to be this petty, aren't you? Haven't you dragged things out long enough? Josh's marriage is in ruins because of you. Do you feel no shame, breaking up someone else's family? Who do you think you are, tearing apart a happy home? Oh, that's rich coming from you. Let me remind you that Josh and your entire family used a property you rented and pretended it was your own. You have no concept of boundaries or honesty, do you? Maybe if you hadn't reached so far beyond your means, none of this would have happened. But no, you'd rather blame me for the mess you created. Reaching beyond our means? And you're one to talk. Raised with a silver spoon in your mouth, and now you think you're better than everyone else. Just because your father has money, you think it's all right to trample over people who weren't as lucky. Who taught you that kind of arrogance? Me? Look, lady, I've never done anything I'd be ashamed of. Not once. But you and your family? Let's talk about that. If I hadn't shown up to catch you red-handed, you'd still be sneaking in and out of my property pretending like it was yours. Do you even understand what you were doing? That's marriage fraud, plain and simple. I mean, have you ever thought about how many people you're hurting with your lies and your schemes? This whole mess you're in, you brought it on yourselves. Honestly, it's sad to see people who can't even act with a shred of decency. Then again, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I guess that's just the kind of lessons you taught Josh, isn't it? Like mother, like son. What did you just say? Who do you think you are speaking to me like that? You insolent little brat. Where's your respect? Respect? You think I owe you respect? You've got to be kidding. Insults coming from the mother of a con artist aren't exactly going to keep me up. So let me be clear. There's no chance I'll be giving Josh a free pass, so stop trying. And if you keep calling me, maybe I'll start digging into your family's other little secrets. I'm feeling a little embarrassed to be around you right now. I really didn't want you to see this side of me.
Don't be. Honestly, I thought you were incredible. Standing up for yourself like that. Seeing you say everything you did is part of what made me fall in love with you. You've been through so much because of people like your ex, but that's all behind you now. From here on out, I'll be your shield. My parents are worried sick about you too. And Sierra, she's asking me 15 times a day if you're okay.
Sierra? Really? I haven't heard a word from her.
That's because I told her not to reach out and risk overwhelming you. I know she means well, but I didn't want her blowing up your phone while you were processing everything. The people around you care about you more than you know. And me? I couldn't stop kicking myself for not being there when it happened. I can't stand that you had to face it alone.
It wasn't your fault. I didn't expect him to show up there, and it caught me just as off guard as it did everyone else. But now that I've confronted him, I feel like I finally have closure. And honestly, the thought of us living a happy, successful life while he watches from the sidelines, that's satisfaction enough. Just imagine, his failed ex, the one he left for dead, turns out to be a successful business owner. Sounds like the setup for a redemption movie, don't you think?
I love that you can stay so positive. I was worried all of this might have scarred you. That maybe he'd left a lasting impact. But I can see you're stronger than that. And as for him, I'm going to make sure he never pulls something like this again. I've got connections who can ensure he faces the consequences of his actions. So don't even think about anything negative. Just focus on the future. On us. Let's plan this wedding and dream about all the happiness ahead of us.
Thank you, Derek. Once I'm fully healed, I'd love to visit your parents in Sierra. I never imagined they'd worry about me this much, and I'm so grateful.
They adore you. Maybe even more than they like me. For now, just focus on recovering. I'll handle the rest.
All right. Thank you, Derek. You're my rock.
Derek, thank you. When I found out Amber had been hurt, I felt completely lost. I kept wondering what I could have done differently, how I could have kept her safe. But knowing you've been by her side has helped me breathe a little easier. Honestly, after everything that happened with Josh, I was worried. I had my doubts about anyone being good enough for her. But you're proving me wrong. I appreciate that, Frank. I'm just doing what anyone would do in my position. I only wish I'd been there sooner so she didn't have to deal with it alone. But I have to say, Amber's resilience is incredible. Despite everything, she's handled it better than I could have imagined. That's Amber for you. She's always had a positive outlook, no matter the challenges. You know, instead of being shaken, she was actually excited that she finally got to stand up to him. She's happy about getting a little justice. Most people would be traumatized after something like that. But not Amber. Her strength is inspiring. It's a relief to see her bouncing back so well. I'm putting my trust in you, Derek. Please, keep taking care of her. You're the only one I'm counting on. You have my word, Frank. I won't let anything like this happen again. And as for Josh, I'll make sure he faces the consequences he's been avoiding. No one's going to let him get away with it this time. All right, let's finish up and head back inside. If I smoke too long, Amber's bound to give me an earful. Okay.
After that, the lawsuits began unfolding one by one. In my case, I charged him with trespassing, assault, and even theft. Turns out, the fact that he snuck in several times and used the electricity and water without permission made the theft charge valid. Surprisingly, his wife helped me gather the evidence for this. In return, I supported her in getting a favorable divorce outcome. As a result, he received a hefty fine and probation, which now shows up on his record and could impact any future job prospects. His ex-wife was also able to secure a significant settlement in her divorce, so we both ended up with the outcome we wanted. Of course, there were a few times when that guy called, begging me for leniency. But Derek handled it, answering the calls himself and giving him a piece of his mind. After that, I never heard from him again. When I asked Derek what he said, he just smiled and kept it a secret. Since this whole incident, my dad has become a huge fan of Derek, saying he's someone he can trust with my happiness. Honestly, this was also the moment I felt even more for Derek, seeing him as my strong protector. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had ignored my dad's instincts and actually married Josh. Do you have people around you with good instincts? If so, it might be worth listening to them. Wishing all of you a happily ever after, just like I found mine. That's it for today's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. See you next time!